Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Daniela and I am bringing you another charity shop book haul. So grab yourself a cuppa, get comfy and let's dive straight in. First off, we're starting off nice and light. We have a romance and we have The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. I've heard good things about this. This is about our main character. Her sister has just got married. She's just attended the wedding. I'm assuming she's bridesmaid. She's opposite her arch nemesis, who is the best man. So she has to spend the day with the best man, who she doesn't like. And then everyone gets food poisoning. So they don't want the honeymoon to go to waste. So she goes on the honeymoon with the best man, and it's an enemies to lovers type romance, and I'm super excited to read this. This one cost me 50p. Next up, I picked this up because I recognised the title, and it is Deathless by Catherine M. Valente. So I think that this is a book that is going to be in one of the Illumicrate crate boxes as one of the fandom items. So that's where I recognise the title Deathless from, and I'm assuming it is this book because it's something to do with Russian fairy tales. It sounds Illumicrate-y. So I picked this up purely because of the title. I didn't know anything about it. This one says, a handsome young man arrives in St. Petersburg at the house of Maya Morevna. He is Koschei, the Tsar of life, and he is Maya's fate. For years she follows him in love and in war and bears the scars, but eventually Maya returns to her birthplace, only to discover a starveling city, haunted by death. Deathless is a fierce story of life and death, love and power, old memories, deep myth and dark magic, set against the history of Russia in the 20th century. It is quite simply unforgettable. Sounds really good. I've not heard anyone speak about this. If you've read this, please let me know what you thought of it. I'm really intrigued by this. And this one cost me £1.99. Next up, I have a couple of thrillers that I picked up just because the covers caught my eye and I liked the sound of them. I actually think these were on free for £1 or something, but I'm not sure which other book this was with. So the first one is The Three by Sarah Lotz. This sounded really interesting to me and quite different from a lot of the other thrillers I have seen. So it says, Black Thursday, the day that will never be forgotten. The day that 4 passenger planes crash at almost exactly the same moment at 4 different points around the globe. There are only 4 survivors. 3 are children who emerge from the wreckage seemingly unhurt, but they are not unchanged. And the 4th is Pamela Mae Donald, who lives just long enough to record a voice message on her phone. A message that will change the world. The message is a warning. How creepy and weird does that sound? Creepy children surviving weird plane crashes. It doesn't sound like Pamela lasts very long, so I'm very interested to read this. And the other one I picked up is The House Swap. It says, be careful who you let in. When Caroline and Francis receive an offer of a house swap, they jump at the chance to have a week away from home. After the difficulties of the past few years, they've worked hard to rebuild their marriage for their son's sake. Now they want to reconnect as a couple. On arrival, they find a house that is stark and sinister in its emptiness. Then gradually, Caroline begins to uncover some signs of life, signs of her life. The flowers in the bathroom and the music in the CD player might seem innocent to her husband, but to her they are anything but. It seems the person they have swapped with is someone she used to know, someone she's desperate to leave in her past. But that person is now in her home and wants to make sure she'll never forget. Is this like a crazy ex storyline? I don't know, but it sounds awesome. Next up, this book cost me nothing. It was in one of those little free book huts. They have them a lot in America, but there's one that we walk past when we go to Headingley, I think, in Leeds. Normally we don't pick anything up from there, but on this occasion, I've seen this in the charity shops a few times and I haven't picked it up. And it was in the free book hut, so I decided to pick it up and try it. And it is The Devil and the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. So it's the same author from The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. The reason I was put off by this is because it's based on a book. I don't know why that put me off, it just did, but that's just some weird thing in my head. I can't explain it. I don't have an issue with books. I don't know why it put me off. So it's 1634 and Samuel Pepys, the world's greatest detective, is being transported to Amsterdam to be tried for a crime he may or may not have committed. But no sooner is the Sardom out to sea than devilry begins to blight the voyage. Strange symbols appear on the sails, livestock are slaughtered, ominous whispers travel throughout the crowded decks, and then comes the first murder. With Pips imprisoned in the depths of the ship, can his loyal bodyguard, Aaron Hayes, solve the mystery before the ship descends into anarchy? Sounds interesting. I think this is kind of like mystery thriller type thing, and it was free. Next up I found, I think this is another thriller. It's The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward. I've seen a couple of people mention this. They seem to enjoy it. I paid £2 for this, and it says this is the story of a murderer, a stolen child, revenge. This is the story of Ted, who lives with his young daughter Lauren and his cat Olivia in an ordinary house at the end of an ordinary street. All these things are true, and yet some of them are lies. An unspeakable secret binds the family together, and when a new neighbour moves in next door, the truth may destroy them all, because there's something buried in the dark forest at the end of Needless Street, but it's not what you think. This again just sounds like super creepy and interesting, and hopefully it's a good one. Next up we have another thriller. This is The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. It's a hardback. It costs £1.25. It has these lovely end pages. This is about our main character. She ends up taking a live-in nanny position in the Scottish Highlands. Says what she doesn't know is that she's stepping into a nightmare, one that will end with a child dead and her in a cell awaiting trial for murder. She knows she's made mistakes, but she maintains she's not guilty, at least not of murder, which means someone else is. Tell me that does not sound riveting. I have really high hopes for this. This sounds like such an interesting concept. Please, please be good. Next up, I picked up The 10th Kingdom. This is a book that is based on a TV program, and I've just rewatched it. It's on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube, and it is basically this girl and her dad that lives in New York. They end up going through a portal to this other world, and they find out that there are 9 other magical kingdoms, and it's just really funny and like cheesy, and I just love it. But yeah, I found the book, but the book is actually based on the TV series, so I'm really excited to read this. I assume it's going to be exactly the same as the series because it's based on the series. But yeah, I just thought it'd be really fun to read, and this one cost me 50p. Next up, I picked up Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. I'm pretty sure Katie Colson has mentioned this book before and said like it's really disgusting. That just made me want to read it. So I paid 50p for this. I think Karen Slaughter is crime novels, and I don't know if this is part of a series or not. I'll have to check. I know I did pick up another book from her that was part of a series, but I don't know if you can read them as standalones or not, so I need to check that. This is about girls that go missing, there's a killer involved, and I don't know much else other than that. I haven't read many crime novels. Like, I like thrillers. I don't know if I like crime novels yet, so I'm excited to try this. Next up, this is one that Andy picked up. It is called The Black Prism by Brent Weeks, from the author of the best-selling The Way of Shadows. I don't know anything about this. I think it's fantasy. I think we paid like £1 or £2 for this. It wasn't much at all. It says, Gavin Guile is the Prism, the most powerful man in the world. He is High Priest and Emperor, a man whose power, wit and charm are all that preserve a fragile peace. Yet prisms never last, and Guile knows exactly how long he has left to live. 5 years to achieve 5 impossible goals. But when Guile discovers he has a son, born in a far kingdom after the war that put him in power, he must decide how much he's willing to pay to protect a secret that could tear his world apart. Next up, I found the chunkiest paperback I think I've ever seen. Look at this. This book is almost wider than my head, and I have a wide head. And it is Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. This is the Stormlight Archive Book 2. It's huge. Absolutely huge. So this is the follow-on from Way of Kings. I think I have Way of Kings on Kindle. So we have book 1 and 2 now in the Stormlight Archives. Not going to read the back because spoilers. I haven't read any Brandon Sanderson yet. I love him as a person. We've recently contributed to his Kickstarter and I'm just so excited to read some of his books. We paid £1.99 for this. Next up, I found a hardback of Rose Madder by Stephen King. I paid 50p for this, and this is basically about a woman who is in an abusive relationship. I think her husband is part of the police department or a detective, and she goes on the run to try and get away from him, and he tries to track her down. Next up, I have two that the covers pulled me in to start with. The first one is The Dutch House by Anne Patchett. I just think this cover is beautiful. I love the spine on this. And this one says, Danny Conroy grows up in the Dutch house, a lavish mansion. Though his father is distant and his mother is absent, Danny has his beloved sister Maeve. Maeve with her wall of black hair, her wit, her brilliance. The siblings grow and change as life plays out under the watchful eyes of the house's former owners in the frames of their oil paintings. Then one day their father brings Andrea home. Though they cannot know it, her arrival to the Dutch house sows the seed of the defining loss of Danny and Maeve's lives. It sounds like a family-based fiction. I just liked the sound of it and really liked the cover. I also picked up Grim Tales by Philip Pullman. One of the things on the back says gripping, a clear and humorous retelling with added sprinklings of wit, as well as a sense of these tales as living, mutable things that still transmit deep truths. Not sure what I paid for this, probably less than £2. And last of all, some more Discworld novels. We have Men at Arms. I'm pretty sure we have this twice now. We have Lords and Ladies. We have Jingo. And we have Small Gods. We are making a huge dent in this Terry Pratchett collection. So that was everything for this haul, guys. I hope it wasn't too long. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you next time.